Imagine you are quietly watching YouTube videos and suddenly the unreal happens: an earthquake or a violent tsunami hits your city. The entire city will have to evacuate immediately to get into safe hands. In this video, we take you through the top 10 most violent natural disasters. To begin with number 10, we go to the village of Grau in Switzerland. Grau traces its roots deep into history, dating back to the early Middle Ages, around the 9th century. Situated in the picturesque canton of Valais, surrounded by majestic mountain peaks and lush valleys, the village offers breathtaking views of its surroundings. At its peak, Grau boasted around 50 buildings, ranging from traditional chalets to ancient churches and cozy inns. The village was home to a community of approximately 300 warm-hearted residents, living in harmony with nature and each other. The small village of Grau overcame the unreal. On Tuesday night, Aug. 7, 2017, the village was hit by a violent wave of mud. As many as 50 buildings were completely destroyed, and over 300 inhabitants of Grau had to evacuate to escape death. After a short time of mourning, they have already begun building a new village in 2019. $2.1 million has been set aside for the rebuilding. Today, the village has been rebuilt and is once again a beautiful and vibrant village. Let's quickly dive into the story of Tonga, where an extraordinary natural phenomenon took place in January 2022. Tonga is an archipelago in Oceania. Its capital city is Nuku'alofa. Both Tongan and English are spoken in Tonga. It is a parliamentary monarchy. 99% of the population is originally from the archipelago because Tonga is not very easily accessible. This story all begins in January 2022, where the volcano Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano erupted. It was the most powerful eruption since Krakatoa in 1883. Due to the violent volcanic eruption on the small island, a local tsunami was triggered. The waves reached heights of over 20 meters. Through advanced technologies, the government was able to respond quickly to the unusual natural phenomenon. As a result, many lives of residents of the island were saved. Unlike the Krakatoa volcano eruption in 1883, which could not be responded to quickly, this eruption unfortunately killed about 36,000 people. Pakistan gained independence from British rule on August 14, 1947, making it a little over 74 years old as of 2022. In terms of population, Pakistan is one of the most populous countries in the world. As of my last update in January 2022, Pakistan's population was estimated to be over 225 million people. In the summer of 2022, something never before happened worldwide. Having had warm days day in and day out, the weather turned. Massive rainfall caused at least 1/3 of the country to be completely flooded. According to Climate Change Minister Sherry Riemann, there was about 750% more rainfall than expected. This has unfortunately cost more than thousands of lives and affected 33 million people. Damage amounted to as much as $40 billion, among which more than 800,000 have been lost. With that said, we move on to Dickinson in America. The population has doubled in the past 20 years, so new residents have learned that Dickinson is often hit by severe hailstorms. In a time span of just 3 years, 9 severe hailstorms have been reported. Where it started as a mild hailstorm in 2016, it quickly turned into a violent and deadly hailstorm. Suddenly, very thick ice balls fell from the sky and visibility was significantly reduced. After that, the severe hailstorm passed. It was found that hundreds of houses had damage and all the cars in the region of the natural phenomenon had heavy damage. Fortunately, no injured people were reported to hospitals. With number 6, we go to Assumption Parish in Louisiana. The Bayou Corn sinkhole was created from a collapsed underground salt dome cavern operated by Texas Brine Company and owned by Occidental Petroleum. The sinkhole, located near the community of Bayou Corn in northern Assumption Parish, Louisiana, was discovered on August 3, 2012, and 350 nearby residents were advised to evacuate. Scientists have stated that the evacuation order could last for years. The government sent a team there to study the natural phenomenon. The moment this team was present, they saw it happen. A number of trees were dragged into the ground like it was nothing. Digging out the soil under the water created the sinkhole. Now you will probably think they stopped digging at that location, but no. To this day they are still digging, and the hole has grown to 24 acres. With number 5, we dive into forest fires, which can be caused by several reasons. Sometimes it is due to miraculous human error, but also sometimes nature finds its own way. This phenomenon was all but Mother Nature's fault. It all started when a car got a flat tire, but kept going. Sparks jumped off and ignited the small and dry bushes along the road. The fire was allowed to spread unhindered for days. Ultimately, 396 square meters of Shasta, California were burned. From a helicopter you can see that as far as your eyes can see, the hills are in flames. But there is something else that has been captured that became the real highlight of the story, known as the Reading Fire World. It reached as much as 18,000 feet in altitude and reached wind speeds of 143 miles per hour. That's comparable to an EF3 tornado, as you can see in the smoke clouds. Ultimately, the car started the 7th largest wildfire in California history. More than 1,600 buildings were destroyed by the fire, of which more than 1,100 were still occupied, and was extinguished by more than 5,000 firefighters. Just goes to show that a simple flat tire from a car caused $1.6 billion in damage. In 2015, on April 25th, Nepal's Gorkha district was hit by a very powerful earthquake measuring 7.8 on the Richter scale. Shows footage of the epicentrum and running people during the earthquake. Close to the capital Kathmandu, where about 255,000 people live. Fortunately, most people were outside when the terrible thing happened, drastically reducing the number of injuries and lives lost. The epicenter, where the earthquake began, was 8 kilometers underground. It was the worst natural disaster since 1933, when the Bihar earthquake took more than 10,000 lives. Public cameras show people running across the streets to escape the collapsing buildings. Even a few days after this, the city was hit by earthquakes measuring 6.6 and 6.7 on the Richter scale. 2 weeks later, there was an enormous aftershock with a magnitude of 7.3. This one was near the Chinese border between Kathmandu and Mount Everest. This earthquake resulted in avalanches on Mount Pamori, a mountain range in the Himalayas, and was the worst day in Everest history. Finally, we have arrived at the top 3. For this, we are in Alta, Norway. A local resident was eating his lunch when he heard a strange noise from outside. When the man went outside, he saw power lines broken and the ground moving. He started filming right away. Here you can see the unedited footage. A massive mudslide caused houses, caravans, and trees to slide into the fjord, and no one could do anything about it. According to New York Times, 8 families had to rebuild their homes. This natural phenomenon began as the clay collapsed and began to slide like water. This clay can be found in Russia, Alaska, Canada, and Scandinavia. Perhaps it originates from the last ice age, and therefore it is unlikely to be the last mudslide. To continue with no. 2. We go to Marshalltown in America. Residents know the risks of living in the tornado area, as Marshalltown has a rich history of tornadoes. In 1961, an EF3 tornado blew across the southern part of the city. Damage exceeded $1 million. Now, nearly 60 years later, the city is again hit by an EF3 tornado. The tornado passed right through town around 4:30 in the afternoon. Here we have footage from a resident who captured on camera how the tornado swept the town. Here you can see that tornadoes definitely take all the loose things and even pull power lines out of the ground. This storm was part of a 2-day tornado outbreak between July 2019 and July 2020 that included a total of 31 confirmed tornadoes. Several towns were hit by tornadoes, including Marshalltown, Pella, and Lavilia. The most powerful tornadoes were EF3 in force, including the same as in this video. In the Marshalltown storm, the tornado pulled the roof of courthouse and damaged several businesses, homes, and historic buildings. The tornado lasted 23 gripping minutes and cut a 13-kilometer path through the heart of the city. The damage totaled over $320 million, but fortunately took no lives. Finally, we arrived at number 1, and for this we traveled to La Grave, which is a well-known ski area in the French Alps. Unlike what you're used to from a ski mountain, La Grave has no ski slope. That means there are no marked ski areas. So for this reason, there is no avalanche control. In March 2015, a group of friends were riding on the mountain until someone noticed snow rolling down the top of the mountain, their way. As you can see, the avalanche is coming straight at the group, and it doesn't take long for them to be in the middle of the blizzard. In just 40 seconds, it changed from beautiful sunny day to terrifying moment. Fortunately, the group was far enough away that they were only hit by a dust cloud of snow. When it was over, it seemed like the group was very happy and pleased to have experienced this. Avalanches are always there, but to film one head-on like this is a very special moment. Wow, you watched this video to the end. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you want to see more videos like this. With that said, thanks for watching. Until next time.